These are 7 signs that you are going to be successful, inshallah. So, I left the UK dental system around a year ago now, actually, and I wasn't able to leave because I did something magic or something crazy or insane. I was able to leave the UK dental system because I put systems in place. That's all I did. I put systems in place. I had a plan that I worked diligently towards. I had very, very major, significant goals. And I broke those goals down into easy, bite sized chunks. And consistently, every 6 months, every year, I was seeing myself achieving, ticking off one of those goals bit by bit. And that is precisely how I am able to have left the UK and UK dentistry, and now I live in the UAE and I invest and I run businesses. But I do remember before I developed those skills, those really important, valuable skills of financial understanding, financial management. I remember seeing other people invest now. I used to think like, wow, how did they develop that skill? How did they get to that point where they can understand what they're buying and why they're buying stocks and why they're buying this stock at this time and not this stock at a different time or another stock at this time, and all these millions of questions that new investors have when they first start investing. And what I realized once I actually started learning and developing my financial understanding and of the investment markets was that actually most of these people who are talking a lot about stocks and specifics and you should invest into XYZ is they don't actually know what they're talking about. They're mostly running off of hype, meaning they're recommending things that they've heard other people recommend to them. Okay. And that is not a good way to invest. It's not a good way to grow your wealth over the long term because essentially, when what you're buying currently dives in value, you're going to be left in the lurch. Why did I buy this and I don't know what's happening now? You're going to have a lack of understanding of what to do. And that is why it's so important to develop your understanding of the financial markets by yourself. Have your own independent understanding of financial management. Have things set in a system. Don't just be doing things randomly because some XYZ person told you to. Understand why you're doing things. Have a plan in place. Have goals in place that you're working aggressively towards, and you should be ticking off those goals one by one, every 6 months to 12 months. And if you're not ticking off those bite-sized goals, then you're probably doing something wrong. You need to have very, very clear idea of where you want to be in the next 5, 10, 15 years. So coming back to my own journey, and if I look back, I can see that there were some very, very clear signs that, alhamdulillah, I was on the right track and I was doing the right thing. Alhamdulillah, I have seen a lot of those signs from our own clients, actually, once they join us in our agency and I get to know them on a very, very deep level. I can tell that they displayed a lot of the same behaviors that I displayed over the last 10 years. And I know for a fact that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed me to achieve a certain level of success, He is going to give it exactly to those clients as well, because they have a plan, they have a goal, they have several goals in place that they are working towards diligently. And that is one of the most important things. So grab a pen and let's see how many of these 7 things you are already displaying. And inshallah, if you're not displaying some or even all of these things, then hopefully you can start now. Remember, starting now is better than starting never or starting tomorrow or starting next week. Okay? So don't delay things, don't procrastinate. If some of the things that I'm talking about are hitting home to you and you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable or insecure, that's good. That is the place where we grow. Okay? Number 1 is money does not solve all your problems. Now, yes, obviously there are some very, very important problems that money does solve. If you're barely scraping a living together, probably not, because if you're watching my video, then you're most likely a dentist or you're a high-income professional. But yes, if someone is living on the breadline, then money is going to help them. If they're barely able to afford food and things like that, then yes, money is very, very important. Money is going to solve that problem. What money essentially does in that situation is it allows you to move out of survival mode into strategic mode. So it takes care of your basic survival needs. But then after that, that is when you realize that money cannot solve all the problems that you have. For example, the health of your family. But there are so many things that can happen to our family, our friends, in terms of health, in terms of things that are completely unexpected, that money will not magically fix. But the even more important point is you have to develop that first stage of wealth so that you can stop focusing on survival. Because when you're constantly only focusing on survival, you're not able to focus on bigger things. Focus on survival. Once you're surviving, then you can focus on making a decent, comfortable living. Once you're making a decent, comfortable living, then you can work on developing a custom-made reality. As one of my very good friends says, it's a life that you design from top to bottom. You work how much you want to work. You spend your time doing what you want to do with who you want to spend your time with. Hopefully it's your family, your children, etc. That is the value of being time free and work optional. Number 2, you overcome obstacles instead of stopping. This is absolutely vital. And it's a skill and it's a quality that I've not seen from that many of my colleagues, unfortunately. What I mean by that is when something goes wrong, a lot of people will start to feel sorry for themselves. They will start to get into a little bit of depression and think, oh my God, this is going wrong and that is going wrong. Life is all sunshine and rainbows until something goes wrong. And then that is the point at which life is going to test you and see how you're going to respond. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to test you and see how is my servant going to respond in this time of difficulty that I am testing him with. Now, you have two options. You can, first of all, you can complain, you can feel sorry for yourself, you can think, oh my God, everything is going wrong, something's bad's happened in my business. I've had this complaint from a patient that's gone to GDC, fitness to practice. One of my treatments went really badly and now a patient is giving me a headache and I've had to redo this treatment many times. Or, oh, I can't stand my nurse and she's giving me a headache and she's really horrible to work with. Or things continually break at my practice and the principal doesn't care enough to fix things. At a certain point, yes, things should just work, but you need to be able to deal with adversity. If at the first sign of adversity you're breaking down and you're becoming weak and you're complaining, that is not a good sign. What you should be doing is you should be saying, okay, crunch time. This is when I have to show what I am made of. The handpiece is leaking, wrap a tissue around it several times, get to work. As long as water's coming out the head and is spinning at a decent speed, get to work, stop complaining. If you don't have the exact matrix perfect instrumentation that you need to do a filling or a crown prep, just manage, deal with it, okay? Yes, make sure that the practice has what you need next time, but the patient is in the chair now, just deal with it. This is a really important quality. Develop the quality of not feeling sorry for yourself and just getting your head down and working when adversity strikes. Number 3, you prioritize assets over liabilities. Now, this is the mindset that you need to approach all of your purchases with. Every single item that you buy, everything that you purchase is either going to take you closer to being work optional or further away. Ask yourself, the next time you're scrolling through Amazon for that certain thing that you want to buy, I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm going to be very honest, my Amazon history is not great, but this is a skill that you need to develop. Alhamdulillah, in the other aspects of life, I've been very diligent. Yeah, fair enough, I might splurge a little bit on Amazon, but you need to ask yourself before you buy each and everything, is this purchase going to take me closer to being work optional or is it going to take me further away? Is it something that's going to make me better? Is it something that's going to help me make more money or save more money or invest or improve my quality of life significantly? Or is this something that I'm trying to fill a certain emptiness with, some material thing that you think that's going to give you happiness, but like everything else that's piling up in your cupboard that you've bought from Amazon over the last several years is just lying there unused. This is going to require a huge amount of honesty and self-reflection. So huge expenses like overpriced cars, expensive gadgets, these things are going to cause lifestyle creep and slow or even prevent you achieving your goal and your ambition of being work optional. Buying assets like property, gold, stock, stocks, crypto, etc. These are things that are going to further you towards your goal of becoming work optional. So a really good question to ask yourself is this thing going to help me achieve my goal of becoming financially freedom faster? If the answer is no, I think you know what you need to do. You need to leave it and continue grafting. Treat yourself. I'm not saying don't treat yourself. I'm saying be sustainable, be sensible, and have a bigger vision in your head rather than just working 9 to 5 to make £7,000-10,000 a month and then wasting most of it on material goods and then having to work again the next month 9 to 5, maybe 5 or 6 days a week, just so you can afford your next month's spending. That's not any kind of life to live. Number 4, you're always learning. Now, after university, to this day, I think I have probably spent close to maybe £100,000 to £200,000 on my own education, on learning, on studying, on doing different programs, on mentorships. These are all things that are going to grow you as a person, give you skills that other people don't have, that are going to increase your bottom line, increase your take home from your career, whether it's a clinical course or it's a business course or it's a communication skills program, etc. These are all things that are going to be incredibly valuable over the long term for you. As I mentioned in the previous point, are going to take you much closer, much faster towards your goal of becoming work optional. So over the last 10 years, I've actively studied investing in different markets, stocks, crypto, gold, property, understanding the property markets, locations, understanding tax, understanding financial management, understanding halal investing, because people think that, oh, as soon as an amazing opportunity comes, I'm going to take it. But the reality is, if you're not primed and ready to take advantage of something, you're going to miss out. I'll give you a very quick example. Now, back in 2020, when Donald Trump announced the first lockdown, all of the investment markets crashed. Okay, they crashed very rapidly. Bitcoin went down to around $3,500, which is absolutely crazy. Now, all of those people who are saying, yeah, oh, I'm going to take advantage of an opportunity when it presents itself, they will not have been able to take advantage of Bitcoin at that time, because even to a basic degree, they did not understand opportunity that was presenting itself at that time. I did, because I had studied beforehand. I had understood how valuable a market crash is in order to buy assets at a major discount. So when that time came, I was ready to take advantage of it. I was ready to buy, and that's exactly what I did, alhamdulillah. Number 5, you don't compare yourself to others. Now, this is a little bit of a double-edged sword. There's certain times when it's valuable to compare yourself to others. First of all, it's valuable to compare yourself to others if it's going to motivate you to work harder, to achieve what they're achieving. You learn lessons from people who are better than you, who are higher up than you, who are more successful than you, who are maybe more senior in your career than you. And for example, people who are hitting levels of income that you want to achieve. If you're able to take that as motivation and you're able to learn from them, then it's okay to compare. The other time when it's okay to compare yourself with others is when you're comparing yourself to people who have less than you. Okay, this is in our deen. It is heavily encouraged to look at people who have less than you so that you will feel more appreciative for the blessings that you have. This is very, very important. The damage of comparison is when you look at people who have more than you and you feel jealous and it makes you ungrateful for the blessings that you have in your life. That is the time when you should never be comparing yourself. But if you're comparing yourself to people who have less, then you should be looking at them and you should be saying, subhanallah, some people live a very difficult life and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed me with so many things. I will say categorically, this is the thing that gives me the most happiness, the most contentment in my heart. Alhamdulillah, I've achieved some incredible things, all by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, some incredible things associated with finances and wealth, but the things that make me the happiest are not associated with wealth. The things that make me the happiest is when I compare myself to where I was before, the life that I lived before, the struggles I went through before, and I compare myself to people that are not as comfortable, people who have a more difficult lifestyle, and I force myself to be appreciative to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the blessings that He has given me. I have health. Generally, I am healthy, alhamdulillah. I don't have any broken limbs. I am able to go to the gym. I am able to lift weights and become strong. I have healthy food. When I come home, I am able to afford good quality food for my family, for my children. My children are healthy. They live in a safe environment. They live in a beautiful, warm Muslim country where there's minimal crime. These are things that you need to think about constantly and remind yourself of in order to Appreciate what you have. When you are appreciative, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you more. So instead of chasing what you think is going to make you happy, all the things that you see in social media, all the material rubbish, you have to only compare yourself to where you were yesterday and improve upon where you were. Stop comparing yourself to someone else's Instagram highlight reel. Remember, you are not seeing any of the struggles that they have been through. And if they are legit, first of all, then yes, you've not seen any of the hard work that they have put in to achieve what they've achieved. And then on the other hand, just remember that most of social media is a lie, and most people are nowhere near as successful or as happy as they make out to be. And it's exactly that mindset that kept me grounded, kept me disciplined, kept my feet on the ground, and allowed me to continue grafting, continue working, and achieve what I've achieved so far, alhamdulillah. Number 6. You spend time with builders. I'm not talking about bricklayers. I'm sure there's some amazing brickies out there. I know some myself who are lovely. But what I'm talking about when I talk about builders is people that are constantly working harder and harder than everyone else. They're not the average member of the general public. There's nothing wrong with being average. But me personally, I don't really want to spend my time around people that are just, going to a 9 to 5 and then coming home and then, watching a bit of TV and spending maybe 30 minutes with the kids or an hour with the kids and then going to bed and then repeat that cycle 7 days a week, 30 days every month, 365 days every year, or 60, 50, 60 years of their life. That's not the life that I want to live. So I actively spend time around brothers that are building huge things, that have major goals, that are wanting to achieve things that the vast majority of people will never achieve. So spend time, network, find mentors among people that have achieved huge things, that have achieved unusual things. And that is something that when you spend time around people that are better than you, that are achieving great things, it recalibrates your expectations for yourself, and it forces you to think bigger and brighter and to expand your goals. It forces you to stop thinking small. When I talk about goal setting, we talk a lot about goal setting in our private community. I really encourage our clients that when they are setting goals, they need to set huge goals, because only then will you be able to break down those huge goals into bite-sized chunks and slowly achieve those goals bit by bit. Following on from that, when you spend time around people who are achieving great things, they will force you to expand your goals. And that's exactly what's happened to me. And number 7, you have the confidence in your own ability to grow your wealth halal by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Confidence is what's going to separate you from others who are freezing, from everyone else, from all the other dentists, from all the other Muslims that are working just 9 to 5s. And they're like, oh yeah, I wish I could invest into stocks, but I don't really know how. And they're stuck in that analysis paralysis. Confidence. First, develop your understanding, educate yourself, and that education is going to give you confidence. And when you have that confidence, then you can go all out. Then you can actually buy assets. Then you can start investing consistently over the long term. And that is what's going to change your life. And that is what allowed me to leave the West. It's the systems that I put into place. It's the systems that I built, alhamdulillah, that I worked really, really hard on. I achieved XYZ goals slowly, and then I was able to hit that milestone of doing hijrah and leaving for a Muslim country for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, in closing, if you see these 7 signs, or hopefully most of these 7 signs in yourself, you are well on your way to achieving great things, inshallah ta'ala. On this channel, I teach Muslim dentists and professionals just like you how to build systems to develop halal wealth, generational wealth, so that you can be work optional. Without riba, without investing into haram things, and also without gambling with your savings, meaning investing without knowing what you're doing, because that is gambling. And also without falling for fake shortcuts, because there are no shortcuts for achieving something so incredible, so life-changing, that nobody else has, or very few of the general public have, which is generational wealth. There's no shortcuts to achieving great things like that. So I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments what you learned from this. Tell me what you want to hear from me more. Tell me if you disagree with something that I've said, and hit the subscribe button. In the description, we have 2 links for you. If you are a dentist dentist or professional closing in on that 6 figures a year salary, then you can apply directly to be one of our clients within our agency, where we can help you on a one-to-one basis, fast track your financial success, your investment success to achieve that position of being work optional. If you're on track to making 6 figures, but you just don't feel like you're ready to take the step of an agency just yet, or a mentorship like ours, then we still have our incredible free and exclusive private community, which is the Halal Capital Club. So that link is in the description as well. And inshallah ta'ala, I will see you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum.